Yeah, I think so. He talked about when, back in spring training when he got sent off the 40-man, he kind of, took a step back and realized that his only, shot to get back to the major leagues, at least with the Phillies, was going to be through starting. And he had done that when he was back with Seattle, when he first came up as a prospect, and then obviously switched to a reliever when he got to the Phillies organization. But he had some people back home that always asked him about starting, and he kind of said, that's probably my best shot at doing it. And he kind of, became a new pitcher down here when he got back into the starting role. It came with a new mindset as well, having a little bit more room for error and just having fun out there again, which, he kind of lost a little bit as a reliever when he was struggling. We just talked to him about a half hour ago. He's really excited. He said the news caught him off guard a little bit. Like you said, I don't know. Maybe he was expecting, at some point this year to get back up to the Phillies. Probably not right now, but he's excited for the opportunity. He said, it's another opportunity to get back up there, and he's excited to see, what he can prove. He said he's not, 100% sure what to expect. He's kind of had some up and down outings here. The first few ones were great. He had a little rough patch in there, but the one thing he's been able to do is just give them innings, no matter what his control is like. He's been able to go for at least 5 innings, and he's really been able to minimize the damage, which he has that opportunity because he's starting and he has longer to go. So I think he's definitely a new pitcher than what he was the last time the Phillies fans saw him in Philadelphia.
Yeah, his big problem has been control. I mean, is that something that has been considerably better for him? He worked out of the bullpen and just couldn't throw strikes. We know he was the key piece of that Lee deal because he had a live arm and they really thought he could be a power guy at the back end of a bullpen. He just couldn't throw strikes. Is that something that has improved for him?
Yeah, it definitely has. He had a start here last month where he struck out 7 and didn't walk anybody, and that was the first time he struck out that many and walked none, I think, since 2010. So he still had a few games here where the walks have come back. He had a start here where he said he was kind of thrown off by the sun was in his eyes, and it kind of flustered him. And whether or not that was the full reasoning, we're not really sure. But the walks have been up a little bit over the last few starts, but I think he's been able to minimize. I think in past years the walks would get to him, and then all of a sudden things would unravel and kind of blow up for him, and it would be a huge inning for the other team. But it seems like when he does have the walks now, he kind of knows how to get back on track and coach himself out there on the mound, so that if he does get the walks, it's not a huge deal. The walks have been up at the last few games, like I said, but his strikeout numbers are up, and he just got that live arm, and it's a matter of controlling it. And he just said today he knows the walks are going to come. They're going to be there. He's not going to be perfect, but it's a matter of just controlling that and being able to coach himself on the mound.
We saw Jake Diekman back, and he was down there for a short amount of time. It looked like another guy. Did he give you guys the indication that it was more of a mental situation for him that he needed to work on?
Yeah, that's what it was all about. The Iron Pigs manager, Dave Brundage, when Diekman first came down, obviously he came kind of with a checklist of things he need to work on, pitching inside to left-handed batters, getting the slider down. But he said, first and foremost was just getting that confidence back, and he said getting the swagger back. And it really only took a few appearances here. He made 6 outings before he got called back up, 7 innings. Didn't allow a run in any of them. He only had 1 walk, and that came in the first outing. And Brundage said the last 2 outings he had were the best he's seen him. He was throwing 96 to 98, kind of picking his spots and just overmatching anybody he was facing. And Brundage said he was able to kind of stick his chest out a little bit, and he had that swagger back that ultimately got him to the Phillies in the first place. So I think it was kind of something between the ears where he just needed to kind of find that confidence to be able to kind of just get batters 1, 2, 3 and kind of just float right by them.
We're talking with Greg Joyce, covers the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs for the Express Times. And, of course, Aaron Nola will be a guy everybody has their eyes on from Double-A. He'll make his debut at Triple-A. Is the stay expected to be long, or is this something that a lot of people think that this will be a quick 2-3 start stint and then he'll be gone?
Yeah, I think a lot of people think this is just a temporary stop. I think they probably have a plan of, they were going to give him keeping him in Reading until a certain amount of time. I think the plan is probably, this isn't definite, but just my take is maybe 3 or 4 starts here and then send him right up to Philly. Obviously that's kind of dependent on some of the moves the Phillies make, but obviously if he proves that he's ready here, obviously they can make a spot for him in the rotation there. He seems like he has his head on real straight here. He said he's not listening to any the speculation of him getting up to the Phillies by July or August or anything. I think Ruben Amaro said that he's going to be up there at some point this year. It's just a matter of when, after being out for 2 years, and this time he's just coming back from a lat strain. So he said it's a much different kind of mentality, and if he has to get these starts in and build up back up, but I wouldn't be surprised to have a few more starts down here, and then if there's no setbacks, I think he would be good to go back to the Phillies. But it's more of just getting his work in and building that strength back up.
Well, Greg, we know that Hamill's missing, that we have Oman up here. We know Jerome Williams is going to be out, so they'll probably need somebody else up there at some point. Do you think Billingsley is going to be ready, or is there another candidate on the Lehigh roster that could be getting a call? I know obviously Morgan's on the 40-man and David Buchanan's on the 40-man. I don't know that obviously Severino Gonzalez too. So do you think that one of those guys will take the place of Williams next week, or will it be Billingsley maybe having to go up a little early?
I don't think it'll be Billingsley. He only threw 45 pitches here the other night. I don't think he's quite ready. Buchanan, I think he pitched an extended sprint today. He's still coming back from an ankle injury. Severino Gonzalez is a candidate. He threw here Tuesday night, so he would be online to throw Sunday. But like you said, Morgan is on the 40-man. He had an interesting start last night. He was coming off his best start of the year when he had 6 shutout innings. And all of a sudden in his start last night, in the second inning, he wasn't having any trouble, and they had a guy up in the bullpen. And then they took him out after 2 innings. And so obviously, just the signs pointed towards him, just throwing those 2 innings and then, being a candidate to start in Philadelphia on Sunday. After the game, he said he was told that they're trying to manage his innings and kind of, get him a certain allotment at a certain point. He seemed kind of frustrated by that. He said, he thought that the point of this year was to get his innings in and kind of just build back that arm strength after missing all of last year. Dave Brundage said the same thing, that it was the plan was kind of to cut back on innings and just kind of they were stuck with skipping a start, and that they're just trying to control how much he throws, which it might be true. It could also be kind of a excuse because they're waiting to tell him that he could still be starting on Sunday. So it'll be interesting to see what they do there. He is a candidate. It might have just been for him to get some work in, and then they'll send him up Sunday to make a start. Like I said, he was coming off his best start of the year. He hasn't been, shut down for them, but I think he'd be an interesting candidate because I think what you're going to get with Severino Gonzalez at this point. He's still a young 22-year-old pitcher, and he's struggled a little bit when he's up there. So I wouldn't be too surprised to see them take a shot at Morgan. But, now it's in his head that they're potentially cutting back his innings, so I think it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out for Sunday.
A couple other quickies for you. Greg Joyce here with us, covers the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs at GJoyce9 on Twitter. I look at the Lehigh Valley roster, and there's only 2 legitimate outfielders listed. I'm assuming that Ruff is down there playing the outfield now that he's down there?
He's actually been playing first base predominantly.
Wow.
They said they'll get him in left field now and then, but no, he's started every game at first base so far. The first night he was here, he had a pair, of RBIs, and he looked pretty good at the plate. They're just trying to get his everyday at bats, and one thing he was talking about was just getting his approach back against right-handed pitchers. Coincidentally, Buffalo's throwing 4 left-handed starters in this series, so he's getting the left-hander against him, which he was hitting 400 against left-handers in Philadelphia. But I think he's 179 maybe against righties. So he's kind of trying to get that approach back against righties where, as you're saying, when he was at the Phillies, he was just practicing facing left-handers and everything because that's how he was used for the most part. But, he said every day at bats, they never hurt. And he said, he knew kind of that he was on the chopping blocks at the numbers game, that he had that option left. And if they wanted to keep everybody and call Don Brown up, that he was going to be the obvious choice. So he's down here with a good attitude, I think, and I'm not sure that he'll be down here for all that much longer if he keeps a good approach at the plate.
All right, so interesting stuff there. Yeah, on the website, it has Bogusevic and Jordan Danks as the only two outfielders listed in the outfielder column. Nobody else as an outfielder, so I figured maybe Ruff was just being used exclusively. Who's the other guy playing the outfield?
They've had Russ Kanzler out there playing the corner outfield there at time. They have Tyler Henson playing some corner outfield positions as well.
Gotcha.
So they have some guys they're technically listed as infielders, but they have that versatility to play outfield. But yeah, Bogusevic and Danks are playing outfield pretty much every day. Bogusevic's the guy. It's tough to figure out why he's still here. He's hitting 51 or 57 starts. He hasn't gone back-to-back days without a hit. He robbed a home run in left field last night, crashing up against the fence. He can steal bases. He can pretty much do it all for them. So he has a July 1st opt-out. So I think one way or another, his days here are kind of, getting to the last few days, because I can't see him here by July 1st when he has that opt-out, whether it's him going up with the Phillies or him just, leaving and signing with another team.
All right, Greg Joyce, everybody here, giving us a little lowdown. Aaron Nola will throw tonight, and Philippe Almont as well. He'll be with the Phillies. Nola in Lehigh. Greg, thanks so much, man.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.